The Jared Goff hate needs to be stopped once and for all. Ever since he was traded to Detroit 3 seasons ago, he's always received quite a lot of slander. First, it was he's not the best quarterback, couldn't perform in the Super Bowl, McVay didn't believe in him, he goes to Detroit, doesn't have the best first season, but it's understandable. The Lions are the youngest team in the NFL. They don't have much to work with, they're rebuilding, and yet Jared Goff receives a ton of the hate and criticism for it. Season 2, Lions start 1-6. A lot of people are saying Jared Goff sucks, he stinks, get him off the team. Now, I'll admit, a few times I did say that he sucks. Sometimes I wasn't like get him off the team. I didn't hate Jared Goff, but I did think that, sometimes he's not the most consistent. He makes some silly plays, and he still does, like the dropped interception against Tampa. Sometimes Jared Goff makes a silly play, but it's fine. People wanted him off the team though, and I thought that was way too extreme. Some of the games were close, and Jared Goff actually played pretty good, like week 1 Philly, I believe week 3 Seattle. Jared Goff wasn't bad in those games. The Lions defense just sucked. However, some games were blowouts like Patriots and the Cowboys, but that was just because we kept going for it on 4th down and not converting. The Lions turned things around, finished the season 9-8 on a final 10-game stretch of going 8-2. But still, during last year's offseason, people didn't believe in Jared Goff. They said he won't be a winning quarterback. He won't win playoff games for Detroit. And people didn't even believe in the Detroit Lions during last year's offseason, which is unbelievable. I can't believe teams were like, wow, the Lions are actually for real halfway through the season. Like, yeah, we figured that out last season. After an offseason of doubt once again, Jared Goff comes into 2023 and leads the Lions to a 12-5 record. 12-5, winning the NFC North, the first division title for the Lions since 1993. Has a phenomenal season, 4,575 yards, 30 touchdowns to only 12 interceptions, 67% completion rate, takes the Lions to the playoffs, wins 2 playoff games, throws for 837 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks in those 3 games. This is the first Detroit playoff win since 1992. He won 2 playoff games, nearly won the NFC Championship, and people are still hating on Jared Goff. Why are we still hating on Jared Goff? Look at this stat line right here. 29-year-old Jared Goff just threw for 4,575 yards. Where does that rank all time for franchises across the league? So if Jared Goff would have been on the Bears or the Ravens, Bills, Panthers, Browns, Jags, Jets, Eagles, Niners, or Seahawks, he would have set the franchise record for passing yards in a single season. That kind of puts it in perspective for how many yards Jared Goff threw for this season. Now bringing up some QB power rankings. This is one of the main reasons I'm making this video. Social media platforms are pumping out their QB power rankings for the 2024 offseason, and Jared Goff should be a top 5 quarterback. Yes, Jared Goff should be a top 5 quarterback in all of these QB rankings on podcasts or people's top 10s or their social media, TikToks, whatever. Jared Goff should be in the top 5. Put some respect on my boy's name. He's won the division, won 12 games during the regular season, threw for over 4,500 yards, had a great touchdown interception ratio, won 2 playoff games, went up to the NFC Championship. There was only 4 quarterbacks to go to the championship. Whoever made this list, please tell me what Justin Herbert has done to deserve 4th on the QB power rankings. What has he done? Justin Herbert has not won a playoff game. He blew a 20-plus point lead in the playoffs. I know Justin Herbert is very talented and Brandon Staley sucked. They should have fired him after they lost to Jacksonville. He's supposed to be defensive minded. Where was the defense? But you can't rank Justin Herbert at 4 just because you got a new head coach. I swear, Justin Herbert might be one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league right now. Patrick Mahomes at 1 is fine. Lamar at 2, I'd definitely argue that, but for now it's fine. Josh Allen at 3 is fine. Herbert is not okay at 4. Stafford at 5. It's crazy that Goff isn't above Stafford after Goff outplayed and beat Stafford in the playoffs and then won another playoff game after that. Dak Prescott at 6. What are we doing? What are we doing? Did we watch any football this season? Did we watch the wild card round of the playoffs, or do we forget about that? CJ Stroud at 7. That's fine. Trevor Lawrence at 8. What has Trevor Lawrence done? He threw away the division. He has 1 playoff win. Overrated. Joe Burrow at 9. That's fine. Jordan Love at 10. Jordan Love should be way higher. Kyler Murray at 11. What? Smith and Kirk Cousins above Goff? Like, this list is just unbelievable. And just Goff not... The list overall is bad. There's so many flaws with this list. But Goff being at 14 is like, what the fuck? And then we go to another list. This is FanDuel's. Jared Goff's at 14. Like, Caleb Williams is above Jared Goff. Like, oh my goodness, I don't understand this. These lists make no sense to me. Just nobody has any respect for Jared Goff. I would argue that Jared Goff should be above Lamar Jackson. What has Lamar Jackson done in the playoffs? Jared Goff came into Detroit, and in his first playoff game, won and had a phenomenal game. In his second playoff game, won, phenomenal game. In his third, he lost but had a phenomenal game. Jared Goff showed that he could perform on the biggest stages. Not the biggest one because he didn't make the Super Bowl, but the biggest ones that he got to. And if you want to say, oh, Lamar won MVP, best defense in the league. Best defense in the league. KC didn't score a point in the second half of that game. And Lamar Jackson threw the game away. Literally, jump ball into triple coverage. I know Zay Flower fumbled the ball, but Lamar Jackson was still not good in that game. And I do think the play calling was bad, but still, Lamar Jackson wasn't the best. And it continues to be not good in the playoffs. And if you want to argue Lamar is better because he won MVP and where's Goff's MVP, it wasn't like a good MVP. Again, best defense in the NFL. And what I mean by wasn't a very good MVP was like, there wasn't much crazy competition for MVP. Again, best defense. And no one's going to refer to 2023 Lamar like 2018 Patrick Mahomes. No one's going to talk about Lamar's season like peak Lamar. You'll never hear, oh, he's playing like 2023 Lamar out there. Wow, like you'll just never hear that. It was like a fine, good season from Lamar, but there wasn't much competition. It was almost a win by default. It's just everywhere though. Any ranking relative to quarterbacks, this is ranking the quarterbacks, each team's quarterback situation at the end of the season. The Lions are at 12. How are they 12 when they have their quarterback? Their quarterback just played phenomenally. They're 12th. I mean, the Packers were 8th, of course. The Chargers were 7th, of course. The Dolphins were above the Lions with Tua. I mean, I'm just in a disbelief. Like, nobody ranks Jared Goff high where he should be. Nobody talks about Jared Goff the way that he should be talked about. Like, when people are having conversations about the top quarterbacks in the league, Jared Goff should be a part of it every single time, and he continues to not be. Maybe the Lions and Jared Goff will just have to continue to be underdogs. I don't think the Lions will be underdogs, but maybe Jared Goff will. The 33rd team was the first rankings they looked at, their media organization. They're just called the 33rd team. I like St. Brown's and his brother's podcast. Entertaining. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. Whoever is making their rankings, this guy right here, Derek Klassen, he needs to be fired. Someone needs to talk to him. So, bring him into the office and go, hey Derek, we like having you here, but we're gonna have someone else do the rankings because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Because he also ranked the best offensive play callers in the NFL, and Kyle Shanahan was number 1. How is Kyle Shanahan number 1 when he couldn't win a Super Bowl, barely beat the Lions, barely beat the Packers with Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, one of the best offensive tackles of all time? Yeah, for sure he's one of the best. Sean McVay, I like him up there, maybe not number 2, but Sean McVay is very good, and the Rams have found some talent in a few positions, but they don't have a lot of talent across the board. Andy Reid should be number 1. Won the fucking Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl with a scrappy offense, like not a very talented wide receiver core. How is he? Mike McDaniel's number 4. If you want to hear more about him, I made a whole video about him. Overrated. Number 4. Did you watch the offense against KC? he had nothing going on. He was throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage every single play, and it wasn't working. He didn't change anything at halftime. Matt LaFleur could go a bit higher. Jordan Love played great. Sean Payton, really? Sean Payton at 6? Really? What did the Broncos do last season? Nothing. Kevin O'Connell at 7. That's interesting. All of these were above Ben Johnson at 10. Ben Johnson barely made the cut for this graphic. I would love to see all 32 OCs ranked, or offensive play callers, because I wonder how bad it gets. In the end, Jared Goff is underrated in my opinion. Should be talked about higher. Should be talked about with the best quarterbacks in the league right now. Had a phenomenal season. The season will be talked about forever by me. I will not let anyone forget about it. I don't think Lions fans will, but this was a phenomenal season from Jared Goff, and one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Might win MVP next season. I'm very high on the Lions next season. I think they're going to go 15-2, maybe even better, but 15-2 is my prediction right now. I predicted the last 2 records for the Lions. Just watching Jared Goff sling the ball in the playoffs, watching him against the Rams, he throws the ball where it needs to go, like to avoid interceptions, for his players to make the catch. Has great chemistry with his wide receivers. He's a great leader on the team. Like, he's not really outspoken, but he leads. He has a good arm on him. I think him and J-Mo are going to build some great chemistry during the offseason. It's going to be J-Mo's first offseason healthy. Won't miss training camp. No stupid suspensions. No more injuries. I think the league better watch out next season, because Jared Goff is coming, and he's underrated. And nobody thinks Jared Goff can be amazing. And he was amazing this season, and I think he's going to be even better next year. If you're a Lions fan and you're not super high on Jared Goff, get on the train. Support the quarterback. He's our quarterback. He's the GOAT. And he's going to win the Super Bowl next season with the Lions. If you enjoy my content, I'd appreciate if you like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And as always, thanks for watching.